across Twitter earlier today. Texas A&M edge defender Shemar Stewart is visiting with the Packers today. He currently sits in the 13th spot on our PTA big board. Here was his Instagram post, right? He just said Lambeau Field. So this means, to the best of my knowledge, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, if you've heard something different, this should be a top 30 visit already in-house. And there's several of them going on across the league right now. There's some that probably have happened that we haven't heard about yet too. But the fact that they had him in there, obviously this was him at the Senior Bowl, just absolutely dominating. He got the full bonus at the Senior Bowl, man. So that's another 5-point bonus. When you look at our draft board, for those of you in the Patreon group who have access to it, what you'll notice is you'll get a couple of different bonuses. You'll get a RAS bonus that'll show a -5 or a -6. You'll get your Senior Bowl and East West Shrine Bowl that will get you another bonus. So when you look at our draft board, if you see a -5, another -5, that should really stick out to you because there's only going to be a handful of players. I'm talking about maybe 10 to 20 players on our entire board that we've got over 400 prospects on right now that'll pop with those two bonuses, and you'll go, okay, they've separated themselves a little bit. It doesn't mean they climb way up our board. I'd rather the board just stay true, but it's just an indicator that, yep, that dude has shown something special. So, again, he was at Lambeau Field earlier today for a top 30 visit, and we did just a little write-up on him here on Patreon, just to give you guys a little snippet. 6'6", 280 to 290 pounds, official measurements pending confirmation at the NFL Combine or Pro Day. You guys probably already have access to all of that. He's from Florida, 5-star recruit out of Monsignor Pace High School. Stewart was a top 10 national prospect in the 2022 class. His dominance in Florida's 4A division, 48 tackles, 15 sacks as a sophomore. And Under Armour All-American status highlighted his career, his elite potential. So you can go check out all of his college production and everything. Jacob, what do you think about Shemar Stewart? Because early on, he was lower on my board, right? And the reason he's raised up is because here's why he was low on the board to start with. PFF grades in 2022, he was 855th at his position. In 2023, he jumped to 333rd. In 24, he jumped to 95th. That's still not like a great grade. What is his grade in 24, Jake?
79.5.
Right. So not horrible, but you'd like to see someone who could potentially be borderline top 10 pick be in the 90s. But again, yeah. PFF isn't everything. However, their big board at the end of the college football season had him 19th on the big board, right?
Yeah.
The consensus big board had him 25th. He did get the Senior Bowl bonus as well, the 5-point bonus there. So he dominated the Senior Bowl. Daniel Jeremiah had him in the 27th spot. He actually mocked him to us in one of his mock drafts, I believe. 33rd team had him in 16th, and Dane Brugler had him 9th. And he also scored, to the best of my knowledge. Did he finish with a 10 RAS? I think he did. I'll get your take on him real quick, and I'll look that up just to confirm. But I'm almost positive that he finished with a 10 RAS.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I just don't feel confident in Shemar Stewart. To me, he screams, unfortunately, a current trend with Goody first-round picks. We draft on size, speed, RAS. But when you look at, he doesn't have that much production, man. He has played consistently as far as games and snaps and all that. He's got 6 sacks in his whole college career from 2022 to 2024. He has only 12 hits. Now, granted, he's got a lot of hurries this last year, but before that last year, not a lot at all. And his pass rush win rate isn't terrible with a 12.4%, but his run defense grade is really where he shined. It was an 88.2. Pass rush grade was only a 67.2. And to me, that production is more scary to spend a first-round draft pick on him again. And I would rather see somebody that's actually shown that he can actually be a crazy disruptor and not just a big body that can run fast.
There you go. Yeah, no, it's a valid point. It's a valid point that the production wasn't there. And that's the PFF grades kind of hold true with that too, right? So, yeah, I can understand being hesitant on it. Again, I just explained why our board has him so big. So if you put more stock in PFF grades and production than maybe what a Dane Brugler or Daniel Jeremiah believes, then you probably go in a different direction. But here's the other thing, like Ron Sample says, I think it might be wishful thinking. Yeah, that's okay. Another project. I don't like the projects either. I was born in a project. I actually was, but it wasn't the project I was talking about.
Different, yeah.
Yeah, different projects there. What I want is those players that are kind of ready to go. You know what I'm saying? I don't want those guys. Oh, it's another ball of clay. That's why I was down on Shemar Stewart early, and it's why if they draft him at 23, it would be more than worth it according to our board. However, that is in the back of my mind, like this kind of feels like another LVM project, and we probably need someone more like a, hey, let's just go out there and kick ass day one. Drew D says, I agree, Jacob. Oh, sorry. But I do think it's easier to take the risk in the 20s than the top 15. Yeah, 13 for a risk. I'm with you there, Drew, kind of like what we did with LVN. And again, the board lined up for that one. I wasn't surprised by the LVN pick. The board said, yep, this is a good pick. And I hope he dominates this year, man. I hope he comes out and just turns it on. That would be absolutely awesome. So,
yeah. The other quick comment I want to highlight, and then we can move on to whatever you want. Coach Len says, who is Stewart paired with up at A&M in the first round? I want to pay for the upside. Now, that is a great point because, again, if they were stacked along that D-line, which I think in certain ways they were. So if you look at Shemar Stewart right now, currently he's sitting at 26 on the PFF big board. Just the next edge listed is number 32, Nick Scourton from Texas A&M. He's younger by almost a full year. He's a little shorter, just 5 pounds heavier. Or I'm sorry, lighter, but his grades are a 62.3 and 82.8, and this last year was an 80.1. A little more production, not a ton more production, but quite a bit considering what our other guys' numbers were there, what Shemar's numbers were. So I believe that they also had a pretty decent interior guy that was helping them out. So that to me even scares me a little more about putting so much confidence into a guy like him. I feel like there's other things that you could focus on.
Yeah. And again, I'm all about the board, man. You know, if the best player on the board is an edge defender, take them. I'm good with it. If it's a tackle, take them. I'm good with it. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I look at it there. So that's a great question though, Coach Landon. Thanks you for looking that up, Jacob, because anytime you got two great pass rushers, right? We were much higher. I don't say much higher. We were higher on Byron Murphy than we were Devondre Sweat, I believe. I don't want to misspeak here. We're looking forward here from last year. We had Byron Murphy as the best lineman, then Jerzon Newton, then Devondre Sweat. And Devondre Sweat, according to PFF, had the much better year than Byron Murphy. So those two guys, the reason I mentioned them is they both played at Texas, right? Yeah, so they were teammates in Texas. So that's a perfect example of is one garnering a bunch of attention and making the other look better than he actually is.
Yeah, so there's also Shamar Turner, their defensive tackle, so that's 3 different people on the Texas A&M defensive line in the PFF's top 50. So that's worth thinking.
Yep. So you got to be aware of that stuff. There's no doubt about it, man. You got to stay in the loop on it. I want to hit something before we move on to some more draft talk. I seen you pop this in. This is